Hi, it's me, Kylie Fox again. I just thought I would let everybody know a little bit about how I got into modeling. So it began when I was about 3 years old. I realized that I really like to be the center of attention. And so I, of course, back then didn't know what modeling was. So I did dance instead. And I did tap and jazz and hip hop. And I got into that for a few years, and then when I was about 5 years old, I realized what modeling was and acting, and that I might be able to do that. So I talked to my mom about it, and we decided that we just didn't have enough money at that time and that wouldn't be a possibility. So I went to school and did my own thing, and then when I was about 10 years old, we heard a radio commercial in the car about a modeling agency who was looking to take models to a convention in South Carolina, and that they were holding the convention at the hotel to try and scout out the models that they wanted to take. So my mom and I went there, and we brought a few pictures that we had taken of me, and we sat through the seminar, and they told us a little about like all the models they had taken there and that had got famous because of it and all that. And then they ended up telling us at the end they chose their models, and they told me that I was one of the 500 individuals who had been chosen to go to the convention in South Carolina. And they said what you had to do first before you did get to go, because it was about 2 months away at that time. From the time the thing at the hotel was. They said what you had to do is you had to enroll in this agency's modeling school, and you had to pay to get your pictures taken by a professional photographer and buy comp cards so that you would have them to give out at the hotel. So we were really excited until we heard how expensive it was. It was probably going to be like $3,000 altogether. And my mom, who's always really supportive and never really cared about the money as much, was like, oh, we'll be able to do it. But we went home and we talked to my dad about it, and he said, the money, that's just really expensive, and, it could be a scam and things like that. And at that time, I had no idea that it was going to be like that, so I was really upset. We ended up discussing it with my grandfather and my great-grandmother, and they said that they would give us the money we needed, the extra money we needed, in order for me to be able to do it, because it was a once in a lifetime change. So we did that, and every Saturday we would go there, and they would teach us, runway, how to walk, how to carry ourselves, and they had you purchase a lot of things from them. They had you purchase makeup and things like that, and it was, of course, completely overpriced, and it wasn't the right, looking back, it was pretty much a scam. But so I went through all that, and then finally it was time to go to South Carolina, and it was an amazing experience. I was able to go, and it was great. It was one of the most memorable experiences. It was my first time on a plane, and me, my mom, and my mom's cousin went, and it was really amazing, and it was a great learning experience. We went, and the day after we checked into the hotel and we got my number pinned on me and everything so everybody knew who I was, we went on a go-see thing, but in a hotel environment. So we went around and we met with all these totally famous places. So we went on the go-sees, and I would go around to the different tables with the different agencies, and they ask you, what are you looking to do? They looked at your photos, your portfolio, and everything. And then they would call back the models who they wanted to either sign with their agency or who they wanted to, meet a little more and get to know before they did sign them. And a girl who was my friend who went through modeling school with me, and who we kind of traveled down there together, and we shared a room, she got tons of callbacks from the go-sees that day, and I got none. So after the day of the go-sees, we had an award ceremony where they announced who got callbacks, who got signed with agencies, and they gave money to the models who did get signed with agencies as a reward, and probably to help reimburse you for all the money you spent. So we went to the award ceremony, and we were sitting at the table with my friend who had gotten all the callbacks, and they were going through, and they finally got to the Fort Wayne people, and they kept announcing my friend's name and my friend's name to come up and get envelopes of money and to get her awards. And I sat there and on the verge of tears the entire time, because I wasn't winning and she was, and it was really hard for a 10-year-old to have to go through that and see someone your exact same age win and win and win, and you get nothing. And I did end up winning, actually, which was, of course, it didn't matter to me then because I didn't get money, but I won the Spirit Award because of my good attitude, and probably as a pity win because I didn't get money. So the girl, my friend who went with me to South Carolina, who won all those awards, she ended up going and getting signed with an agency, but then found out that she had to get braces, and after that never did anything with modeling again, so that's kind of ironic, haha. After the whole convention, I went back into the modeling school after we came back to Fort Wayne. I was still in that agency's modeling school. And I did that for another year, and they ended up getting me one job out of all this money we spent. They got me one job to be in a boating catalog, which was, of course, at the time super exciting, and I still think it is a really neat experience. And so we went and we did that, and then I got paid like $80 for the whole day, and we had to drive all the way from Fort Wayne to Ohio. But it was a great experience, and I loved it. But then that agency didn't end up giving me my tear sheet from it, and after I graduated from there, I decided that the modeling classes were pretty much just repeating everything they said, and so I decided to not go to that modeling school anymore, and we figured out that that agency was pretty much a scam, so we decided to move on and try to do something else. So then we checked the internet out for some different agencies, you know, around our area in Indiana and close in Ohio, and we found an agency in Indianapolis. So we drove down there to meet with them, and they decided to sign me into their agency, and they told me that I would have to go and update my portfolio because the last time I'd had my pictures taken was when I was 10, and at that time that I went to do with the Indianapolis agency, I was 13. So they said we would have to pay for their professional photographer to do the pictures, and then of course to have the pictures printed off and to make comp cards. So we went and we did the photo shoot with the photographer, and we got with this agency, and after we had paid them all the money and gotten the comp cards, they disappeared. They either went bankrupt or they were a scam and somebody found out, and so we never heard from them again. The agency through Bryan, Ohio, and we sent out some comp cards, as did the agency, and I ended up getting another job with a boat brochure. And I guess even then I looked good in a bikini because I was there all day, and they said I had the best attitude out of all the other models, and I got many compliments because all the other girls and guys were complaining that, you know, they'd been there for hours and hours and hours. At that age I was too young to understand that was a big deal, and I was just so excited to have my second job that it didn't even occur to me, and I was just having a great time with the people I was interacting with. And so it was really another great experience, and but once again I couldn't get my tear sheet. It just never ended up going through, and the lady couldn't get a hold of it. And I never got another job with that agency after that, so things just kind of drizzled out. And then we thought we had another opportunity when my family took a trip to Chicago. We thought, well, while we're there, why don't we get involved with, or try to go around and see some agencies there. So when we went to Chicago, I went to an agency there, a well-known agency, and we met with them, and they were very nice, and I got signed with them. And they said that the comp cards I had would work for the time being, because they were photos from about like 6 months ago. And so the only problem was that in order to work in Chicago, if you're under 16 at that age, you have to go and get a license to be working, or, you know, like a working permit. And we never got, after my family left Chicago, because it was just a family trip, we never got a chance to go back there because that's a lot of gas. The modeling thing, it was always in the back of my mind, but I just began to focus more on school, and I was in a long-term relationship for a long time, so I just kind of focused on that. And although I would always dream of being a model, and I still knew that if that chance ever came up, I would absolutely jump at it, I didn't think about it all the time like I did when I was involved in it. So then, surprisingly, a couple months ago, I was contacted by App Jones through MySpace, and he asked me if I would like to come out and do a TFCD. And I emailed back saying, what's that? And he explained to me what it was, and I researched who he was and about iMagic Studios, and I found their work and found that they were legitimate. So I decided to go out to his studio and shoot. I went and I did my first photo shoot, and it went great. I was so excited to go out there and actually have the chance to get back involved in my dream. And then he decided that he would manage me, and so now I am about to go on a photo shoot with a different photographer. And now I realize that I do actually have a chance at being a model, a professional model, and I am overjoyed and excited, and I just can't wait to see what comes. So that is how I got into modeling, and thanks for watching.